All right, welcome back to Beyond the Helmet. I'm your host, Steve McGrath, and before we get into it today, I got to ask you, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, a review, 5 stars, anything to help spread the word, because today I'm about to mix it up with a 10-year NFL vet, former Pro Bowl athlete, and of course, he's much more than that, and we're about to get into it so he can explain a little more about what he's doing today, but it's none other than Marcus Trufant. Marcus, how are you doing today, man?
Doing all right, my guy. What's going on with you?
I get to chop it up with a Trufant brother. There's been a Trufant brother in the NFL for the last 19 years. It's something I just learned recently. So I'm doing good, man. I have no complaints.
Okay, right on, man. I'm doing well. I am doing well.
Now, to hear that there's been one of your three siblings that have been in the league now for 19 consecutive years, is this something that you ever would have imagined growing up, being a spot where not one, not two, but three of you get a chance to play? And obviously, your youngest brother's still tearing it up.
Never even thought about it, man. And it's crazy to even hear that trivia fact. The last 19 years, I'm gonna have to write that down and add that to my little thing, man, to my little trivia game. But that is crazy, man. We never imagined that as boys, as brothers, just running around in the backyard and doing our thing. And of course, Desmond is still playing at the youngest of the Trufant brothers, but Des was 10 years younger than me, 8 years younger than Isaiah. So we kind of pushed Des to the side a little bit and didn't let him play with us as much because he was so much smaller than us. But just to think about it now, man, and how far we've come and all the great things that we've accomplished, and just just to be thankful, man, and to be humbled by the game. Of course, the game stands for not for long, but to be able to play for as long as I did, man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Oh, of course. So I really wanted to start then with, today's 422. I say that because this podcast will be released in May, so this might not line up if I say today, but yesterday, meaning the 21st, you put up a post on social media that just talked about mental pressure and stress weighing on you more than the physical nature when it came to rehabbing from an injury. So you talked about baby steps. So I wanted to first just ask, what sparked you wanting to share that? And then from there, I want to jump into how you've sort of used maybe this baby steps method to approach life outside of football and sort of venture out to be this guy who has his hands in all these different things today.
Right, man. Well, it really just comes down to sometimes that we start to look at things, right, and we have these big dreams. I know I do. I got big dreams. I got big goals. I know I played in the NFL, but I want to do a lot of big stuff. I want to do great stuff. I want to make impact, and I want to do that in a big way. But sometimes if you look at that, like the whole a picture at once, it's like, man, I don't know if I can do this. It's tough. But if you start to break it down task by task, you start to take those baby steps. Okay, check this off the list, check that off the list, and gradually start to build and start to grow, man. It's the same as back in the day. Um, Injuries and stuff like that happen. I come from a time in the NFL where the cornerbacks had to tackle, right? So I was a tackling corner. So I would get these injuries of shoulder surgeries and broken bones and all that kind of stuff. And I would be like, okay, I got 6 to 8 weeks here. I got to do this. I got to do all this rehab. But now just taking those baby steps, going to PT every single day. Okay, I tore my ankle up. All right, I'm starting to walk on it. Now I'm starting to jog, and now I'm back to sprinting. So just try not to look at that big picture all at once, man, and just break it down, man, into baby steps, man, and small crumbs, small spoonfuls, and just eat that full meal. And you know what I'm saying?
Now, in the football context, that makes perfect sense. So let's just go back. It's been about 9 years since you've last played an NFL game. So,
Right.
how, when you're recovering from an injury, where you're going. There's one destination that you see. So when there's not a next NFL game, how do you decide where those baby steps lead?
Right. Well, there may not be a game, I guess, on Sunday, but okay, I want to get my business to this level. I want to grow my social media to this place, or I want to lose this amount of weight. There's goals there. So you just got to kind of keep your goals in um, just right there in the front of it. But again, you can't rush the process, or you can't skip the process, and you can't go from A to M and this and that. You got to go A, B, C, and all the way down to Z if you want to get things done the right way. So I think that's what it comes down to. You put it into football terms. Yeah, there's not a game. There may not be thing that's sitting right there in front of you, but there's goals there. There's always going to be goals there. And that's what a lot of guys who retire, it's hard for them to find that thing that continues to push them. So I think I found it pretty early, and I'm still pushing now.
Yeah, there's no end line. There's no it's over. You get to perpetually go now. You're not worried about is my season going to end? There's no end. It just keeps going and evolving. And part of the evolution that you've seen is being involved in a podcast. I told you before we started, I love Truly Unruly. So man, I need to ask, A, how did that come about? But B, just kind of hearkening back to being a former professional athlete, I'm sure you're used to just the regimented, this is my answer. It's very guarded to make sure that you don't reveal too much information. So how do you remove that filter and just decide that you're going to be who you really are?
Right. Well, first it starts because I'm pretty chill, right? I'm pretty low key, man. I don't like to be in the spotlight too much. I guess that may not make sense because I've played in the NFL for a long time, but of course, on my time off, man, I'm just chill, man. I like to play the background, but my wife is the opposite. She's a Leo. She's outgoing. So I think our yin and our yang and our opposites, it really works. So I'm learning through her how to not be, I guess, in that robotic mode. I don't want to say the wrong thing and just kind of let it flow, man. So Truly Unruly is exactly that. I mean, the Trufant and our kids and our family and our relationship and everything that comes with that. I have 5 children, so of course it can get a little crazy, man. There's always a lot of stuff going on. I've been with my wife for over, I'd be in trouble if she was in here, but 16, 17 years, been married for 13 years. So there's a lot that has went on, and that's good, bad, but we're still together, and we're still working on things, and we're still growing, man. And it's all based out of love. But the Truly Unruly, man, just to let it flow, man, and talk about the real things that go on in relationships, real things that go on with parenting, and real things that just go on, man. You think that guys that play in the NFL, it's all about the shine, it's all about the glitter, but that's not what it's about, man. It's a lot of real stuff going on. I changed a lot of diapers. And a lot of guys don't change diapers. You might think a guy that makes a nice bit of pocket change won't have to change diapers. It didn't work like that here. So just little stuff like that, man, and just be able to relate to stuff. Just be able to relate to normal everyday stuff, and at the same time give advice and just talk through things that me and my wife have been through.
Definitely. I truly did enjoy it. Like I said, I didn't know that I was going to be going down this rabbit hole.
It gets a little crazy, though. It gets a little crazy, right?
It's a good time. I highly recommend Truly Unruly. Going, hearkening now back again to football, there's so much hard work that you have to put in, and it's regimented, kind of what I was alluding to with these answers that you would give on media day, that you kind of know what you're going to do. You kind of know what you're going to be asked, and it's very, just disciplined and regimented. So part of that is, being stuck in this thing where you always, it's hard work, but you're told what to do. Hard work doesn't always necessarily lean to success, though, despite all these things. You can always not get to where you want to go. And sometimes it's just guys don't make the cut. So, from what I could see, and tell me if I'm off base here, but when I see by the time you get to Washington State, this guy, Lamont Thompson, a great person to kind of mentor you and sort of show you the ropes. And then I would imagine Sean Springs was kind of similar when you get to Seattle. So how much did having someone that older brother type to be there and sort of show you how it gets done. How much did that help you get to the level of, becoming a Pro Bowl player?
Helped a ton, man. Helped a ton. So coming out of college, and you mentioned Lamont Thompson, the Washington State Cougars interception record holder, played safety and corner. So I got to spend a lot of time with him and just see just how he took the craft seriously. I mean, and how he was off the field, and even taking care of his business as he was going on to the NFL. I got the same agent that he got. I mean, so I was pretty much that little brother that was just there to copy. And you know what I'm saying? And you go off and do it, big bro, I'm gonna go do the same thing. So that's basically how it went. And then I get to the Seahawks, and then you got guys like Sean Springs that are there. That you got guys like Matt Hasselbeck, and Matt Strong, guys that are seasoned vets, the guys that are doing it the right way. And it was pretty much the same thing, man. And you take notes just like you do in the film room, and you watch these guys and you see what they do because you want to do what they're doing. They're the starters. Those are the guys that are making all the plays. Those are the guys that are making the big interceptions, man, being able to dance in the end zone and do all that kind of stuff. So I want to come in the league. I've been watching the NFL for a long time. So just as a fan, I want to get to that level. And it's kind of a crazy thing to be in the same room with these guys that you walk for a long time. But it's just about kind of breaking that down, man, and just kind of being your own person. And you take from these people, and you take from what you see as being a place of success, and then you turn it into your own. And that's what I did. So a big shout out to all my big bros out there, of course, that showed me the ropes, man. It was good for me. It was definitely good.
And, I never like to ever border on anything that sounds like I'm asking you, hey, were you ever starstruck by someone? But, man, you got to play with Jerry Rice. So I just have to ask, for the time that he was a Seahawk, did you ever have a moment like, oh, my God, this guy's actually my teammate? Or were you able to really learn anything from him at that point in his career?
I would say a little bit of both. You would be like, yeah, that's the GOAT. And then, in the locker room, there's always a lot of jokes and stuff, right? And Jerry was an older guy at the time. So we would talk about him on the practice field. I mean, he wore his pants, it kind of hiked up and stuff, just, of course, the little stuff like that. But this guy, even at that age, and I would do one-on-ones against him, right? And I would kind of be like, okay, Jerry's really not Jerry. He's not as fast as he used to be and stuff. But this guy was so smooth and had the game down and the timing and everything. And Jerry would beat me on these routes, and I would like, how are you doing this? How are you doing this at this age? And then the time I'm in my prime, I'm fast. I got my burst. I got everything down. I got my technique, but it was really just about knowing the game, playing the leverage, man, and doing those little things. And that's what it came down to. So that's what I took from it. It seemed like Jerry, like he pretty much had to give people the stiff arm because everybody was asking him all these questions because Jerry's the GOAT. So yeah, I would say I was starstruck. And that's not the first time. I'm okay with saying that. Guys I played with a bunch of guys that done a lot of great stuff in this league. And it's just one of those things, you got to find a way to get over it, but there's still respect there. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. So, going to now having a couple guys, maybe more than just a couple, but having that mentorship, that camaraderie of guys helping you along as you develop your game, the Jerry Rices of the world that you get to practice against. What happens for you to ultimately become a Pro Bowler in 07? How do you continually work on your craft to the point where, like, now it's without question, you are literally one of the best in the game? Right.
I think for me, it's just my personality, right? I was a error on the side of caution guy. So the year that I made to the Pro Bowl, I kind of like took the governor off. I took the gloves off, right? And I kind of just played free. And that was the year, I think Jim Mora was the defensive back coach. So just going out there and doing stuff. And he used to challenge me to do certain things, but it was in a way that he was kind of like a player's coach, right? So just go out there and get it, True. And that's what I used to do. And I just got to a place where I felt comfortable with playing inside of the scheme, but kind of just letting go and making it my own, man. And for some players, that's what it takes. And there's guys that play like that naturally. You got a guy like Deion Sanders. You got a guy like Ed Reed. They play so free, and it's like the defense is theirs. It's like they created it just for them. I was playing like, okay, I got to play within the rules. I got to do this, and it's just making it too tough. So the year I went to the Pro Bowl, man, I just let my hair down and went to work.
So it takes an adjustment of learning, getting comfortable to the point where you can do that. So now to bring it back to today, how do you feel you've been able to navigate, getting to the point where you can take those gloves off and be like, I've played by the rules a little bit. Now I'm going to make it my own. How has it been for you with whatever the endeavor is, the foundation, anything entrepreneurial? How have you been able to find, being able to unleash that, Pro Bowl caliber talent on a field that's not a football field?
Right. Well, everything you do, I feel like there's a learning curve, right? And you got to start from the bottom, and you got to start in kindergarten, and then you got to grow and you got to learn. And sometimes you learn from falling down, scraping your elbows up, or you learn from things not going right on the deal, or you learn just from your mistakes, man. So that's what it's been for me, making these calculated moves and making small mistakes here, small tweaks here. Okay, I like this. I don't like that. I don't like how that happened. So what can I do to fix that? And it really comes down to it not just being me, but still being coachable and still putting that team around me that's going to help me be successful. So that's been the process of building out that right teams, changing out players, changing out coaches, and kind of just building this culture to be able to do the right thing and making it mine. And you come into it and you really don't know, so you're kind of playing within the rules of the defense. But then you got to make it your own. You got to do what you want to do. You got to be able to step out in front, and you got to be able to be confident. You really go from player to coach.
Absolutely. So speaking of becoming that coach, Mike Holmgren, Jim Mora, Pete Carroll. Three, I actually don't know too much about Jim Mora, but three very different guys, I would imagine, three very different styles. It's one of the beautiful things about being in one spot for a decade. You get to see how it changes over time. Not that I want anything, disparaging about any one coach, but when you look at what it takes to be successful from a coaching perspective and set that culture and have that team that performs well, you saw three different people try their best at it. What would you say? Is there anything that you can put your finger on as to that's what it takes to get everything clicking? And I know Pete Carroll kind of had most of his success after you were there, but you saw the building blocks of what he was putting together.
Right. Well, three different styles of coaching. Coach Holmgren, for me, was more like that kind of like your dad, right? And he's a huge guy, right? So he stands over you. Of course, he gets upset from time to time, like any coach does, but you know that he loves you, right? He's one of those guys that he had his guys, he had his team, and he would get angry, but then he would come back and kind of smooth things over and just show you that he had that love for you and just wanted the best for you. And I think that carried over just onto the players. They knew that Coach Hong was going to be tough, but fair, and he wanted us to do good. Jim, of course, was a younger coach, and he was kind of just like the homie, right? And Jim would get pissed off too, but he was the same way. Jim just wanted us to be the best us, and he knew how to push us, and he knew how to get the best out of us. Pete is a combination of both. He's not young, but he has this young guy type of energy, Cali guy. kind of like surfer kid, right? That energy, always positive, but it can be tough and be tough if he needs to. Not a big screamer, not a big yeller, but it's really the love from all three coaches that carries through and lets all the players know that they just really want the best out of you. And it's really about team. It's all about team. It's all about putting out a good product, and it's about being accountable. I know with Pete Carroll, there was always Tell the Truth Monday, and everybody would sit in there and watch the film, and there would be a certain amount of plays, and we would be, okay, this is what happened, and this is in front of everybody. Tell the truth on what happened, and let's just be honest, and then let's get it fixed, and let's move on. So yeah.
That level of trust, of knowing that the coach at the end of the day, that's what matters most, that he wants his guys to succeed, and there's love there. There's no question about that. That kind of feels like the underlying theme of what you said.
Absolutely. And that's not always true, I think, with I guess a lot of teams and a lot of coaches. You play for a team and it really just feels like it's about business. I know it is about business, but you got to put your best foot forward and try to build this team. And I don't think you can build a team without that type of love or that type of feeling that translates down to the team and everybody involved. And with Pete Carroll, it pretty much starts with, everybody. That's trainers, that's the cooks and the chefs, that's the janitors and everything. Everybody's speaking the same language. Everybody's saying the same thing, and it's all about positivity.
Got it. Well, I had to make sure that I talked about Lamont Thompson and Sean Springs, because by the time you get toward the end of your, Seattle tenure, there's the Legion of Boom coming up, and now you're the big brother. So how much, did you feel—
I'm the old guy.
I didn't want to call you the old guy, but you were the elder statesman of the bunch at the time. And Lawyer Malloy was there too. So maybe there's actually an even elder statesman. But, how did you feel like it was the changing of the guard and you wanted to make sure you were able to help them? Or was it a little more informal than that, where, it was there and it was really just business as usual?
I think it was a little bit of both, man. I think there wasn't so much of guys, I'm gonna pass this to you because I'm on my way out type thing. But the culture that we had there in Seattle was like, okay, this is what's best for the team. I'm here, I'm playing, I might be injured, I guess, or whatever, or we're gonna be changing up positions or doing whatever, but you want what's best for the team, and you want to win ball games, and you want to be a good teammate. I never felt that there was any type of animosity, of course, or anything there. I did it when I came in. Of course, if you're drafted high and you're those young players, you're going to play. That's just the nature of the business, and that's how it works. If somebody's there and that's in front of you, the team has made the investment. So in most situations, if things work out, you're going to be playing. So that's kind of how it works. Sherm came in, Earl Thomas came in, you had Cam Chancellor who came in, and these guys worked right from the beginning. Earl was a high draft pick, so Earl came in and played right away, but Earl was a student of the game. He pretty much lived at the facility, man, was all about the film. Cam was the same way. He played a lot of special teams and did his thing, and he did it with a smile on his face, man. This dude just wanted to go out there and play football. Sherm did the same thing, man, and played hard, man, and worked hard in practice. It came in as a fifth rounder and just took the opportunity and ran with it, man. And that's what you got to do. And we all applaud that. The guys that were older and the guys that were playing there that eventually it got worked out of the system. That's just how it goes, man. That's a part of the game. But to be able to be part of that, not in a huge capacity on the field, but to be a part of just showing these guys just by example, man, not saying much, but just being a family man and being able to play sports at the same time, being able to be in the NFL, man. I had kids, I had a wife, and I was still there doing the same thing. So just leading by example, man. And that's what we did. That's what the older guys did. And shoot, man, I think these guys seen it because I seen it. I came in, I went through the same thing. And that's why I think that you have to respect it, because it's like an ongoing thing and it never stops. So you can't be mad about it. You can't take it personal. It's just the nature of the game.
Yeah, this perpetual cycle. Well, man, I have to ask because 13. You started with the Jaguars. At any point during that 13 season, though, you see how Seattle's performing out there. You're like, hey, as you guys in December gearing up for a playoff run, like, y'all need another body just in case.
Man, of course, man. It it's pretty funny because like on social media and stuff, people think like they always ask me, since you were there, did you get a Super Bowl? Did I get a Super Bowl ring too? And I'm like, no, they're just not giving out Super Bowl rings just for fun, right? So of course I was gone. I went to play in Jacksonville. I followed Gus Bradley, that was the D coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks the year before they won that Super Bowl. Then he went out to be the head coach in Jacksonville. Didn't make the team. I was too old. I was too slow, I guess. And things didn't work out in my favor. But I think it did, man. I think I was ready to retire at that point. I was going to give it one more go. But I just feel like I was at a point, man, and my body was beat up. And my wife was pregnant at the time. And it just worked out, man. But of course, I would love to keep playing, but that was if my body would have held up, and I don't think it would have. I kind of faked my way through it. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of guys do that. But I was content. I was content with retirement. I started to join some men's leagues as far as basketball and doing some things, did some skydiving, started doing some snowboarding, all the stuff I couldn't do as a player. I started to do that stuff. So, I continued to live my life, but there is a part of me, of course, that would have loved to be a part of that Super Bowl run. I was privileged enough to be a part of the franchise's first Super Bowl, even though we didn't win that one, but to be a part of that one, I felt like was special too. But to be able to say that I was part of the Pete Carroll age of the Super Bowl, that would have been cool, but it's all good.
Hey, well, the argument's there that had you not been there to help get the guys along and show them the culture and the way, then hey, maybe it doesn't come together. We'll never know.
I can say I laid the foundation, right?
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I had mentioned your foundation toward the top, and I want to make sure that people know that what you've been doing during this COVID year that we've had. It's incredible. So did you mind actually to sort of just hard pivot here back to, instead of the good old days, sort of the hand that we've been dealt as of late, do you mind just talking a little bit about, how you've been able to take your foundation that's been around, of course, for quite a while, but pivot to make sure that what you were doing was providing the most amount of help in the time where people needed it the most?
Yeah, man. The Trufant Family Foundation, we wanted to step up, right? When COVID hit, there was so much need out there. There was so much unknown of what was going on. So we put together our emergency COVID relief fund. And that was, man, of course, we were helping out people with rent assistance, groceries, transportation to and from work. And then we were feeding kids of the frontline workers that was out there getting it done every day. So just to be able to make a hard pivot, man, and I just put this plan together, man, and the community came out and helped, man. I've been working with a lot of business partners over the years. They poured love, funds, everything into this campaign, and it's been great, man. And we're still doing it. of course, because there's still people that, of course, that still need a lot of help. And so we're giving funds and we're helping out, man. And we partnered up with some local organizations around here, the Tacoma Urban League, and we another one was Seattle Education Access, and just being able to get with those students as well that we're trying to further their education and do things, and they needed help too, man. So the community really came out. And just like you said, my foundation has been doing work in the community for a long time. I'm from here, I'm local. So to be able to give back to a community that gave to me as a young man is a pretty big deal to me. And you say Trufant Family Foundation, that's exactly what it is, man. It's my mom, it's my brothers, it's my wife, it's my aunts, uncles, cousins. Everybody gets involved. And yeah, we're just trying to make the most impact that we can make, man. It's been good though. It's been a good ride.
And how special is it to have lived there your basically entire life, outside of a little trip down to Florida in Jacksonville for a couple months? I mean, your entire life, all of your roots are there, everything that you've been able to do. How that's just particularly in sports, that's just so unheard of to be able to do that. And like that to me is just like the wildest like Disney story of a pro athlete.
That's what I always say, man. It's like, shoot, it's almost something that you can't make up. It's like, just like a Disney story. It's like it's been created because it doesn't happen that way. I even played college ball here, played my high school ball here, and then I get drafted to the hometown team, man. It's been a great, and I think it's I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So I get drafted here. I'm able to relate with kids and do different stuff. I got a youth sports program. I got a scholarship program. So just to be able to empower the youth, to be able to talk to those young kids that were just like me, growing up and not really knowing and just looking for opportunity, man. And we got opportunity from the Boys and Girls Club. I got opportunity through all types of mentorship programs and stuff like that. So for me to be here and be local, I felt like, it just felt like it was meant to be. I had to give back, and it was on my heart pretty much from day one. I had to get things set up and get things in order, but I was like, man, I gotta find a way to give back to these kids, man, and give back to the community. So it's been great, man. It's a blessing, and it still is. Things are still working out, man, just to do things here locally. I got a lot of love for Washington, and they give a lot of love back.
And I also need to quickly shout out Lofa Tutupu, because I know that he was also working to donate meals during this time as well. So I don't know what's in the water up there, but something about the guys that have played up in the Pacific Northwest, man, they seem like just grade A people.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate that. I think what it is too, man, it's just the culture. I mean, around here, and you talk about the fans, and you see how the fans are around here, right? People really get involved with stuff around here and with things that are going on. Of course, when it comes to charity and when it comes to nonprofit work and when it comes to sports, that people rally. So it's just that type of culture around here. It's that type of feeling. So I'm really just trying to tap into that, man, and just keep pushing it.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Speaking of that future, though, you already said toward the top, you want to make an impact. Obviously, we know that you're not going anywhere. You're going to be staying in that Washington area. So, man, what for right now? And obviously, so much can change. But what does the future hold as someone that obviously likes to try different things, obviously wants to make an impact? I mean, what are, if you don't mind sharing, just some of the goals that you have for yourself, your family, and even the foundation?
Right. Well, I'll start with the foundation, man. Just I quickly mentioned our scholarship fund, right? So we've been running the Trufant Family Foundation Scholarship Fund, and we give those funds to the underrepresented students in this area. So just to continue to grow that, man. And you talk about the disparities and the differences, and just going off some of the numbers and the educations and the opportunities that are out there for those Black and brown communities, it can be tough sometimes. So I really want to pour into that. I mean, and shine a light on it. And just like I was as a kid, I want to bring those opportunities. And you can never guarantee anything, but just to give kids opportunities, you never know exactly what can come from that. That could be the next president. That could be the next this, could be the next that, but all they need is that opportunity. And I think a lot of that starts with education. So that's what a Trufant family is. The Trufant Family Foundation is, and that's where we're putting a lot of our energy. And we just want to grow that, man, and make that as big as we can go. And we want to bring in more partners, like-minded people, of course, that feel the same way. And we just want to tell the story, man, and we want to share the good news and just continue to grow. So that's the nonprofit side. And then you talked about Truly Unruly, man. The podcast me and my wife do is great. It's fun, and we're kind of doing the same thing there, man. Just spreading the good news of Black families that it can do well and can be on the positive side. It doesn't always have to be this negative stuff that you might see on social media or on TV. So let's talk about the good stuff. I guess let's talk about these stories of winning and stories of success. So that's good, man. And the Truly Unruly piece is just getting started, man, but it's gonna flow nice, and we got big plans for that. And then just on the business side, man, my transition plan from the NFL was self-storage. And I mean, I'm still doing that. I'm looking to grow that business as big as it can go. I tell people all the time that I want people to forget that I played football. I want to be known as the nonprofit guy, Trufant Family Foundation, and I want to be known as the storage guy. So that's my goal. So give me a couple more years, and I think I can get there, man. But it's working well, and just continue to grow, man, and just have this mindset to continue to be coachable. That's what I always tell people, and that's what I tell myself. I don't have it all figured out. I want to be coachable. I want to be a student, and I want to learn, and I want to go higher. I know I said a lot, man. I talked a lot, but yeah.
This was the former pro athlete side coming out saying like, all right, I got all these different things, but this is how I'm going to take it from where I am to Pro Bowl. This is what I was waiting for. So no, that was not too much. That was perfect. That was well obviously okay. Then we're going to have to check back in, and we're going to make sure that, you know, everything is progressing, because there's a lot to track. They got a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces.
Tell me about it. Yeah, a lot of moving pieces, but that's a good thing, man. And I think that was by design for me. I didn't want to be a guy that was just sitting on the couch, you know. I mean, and not having anything to do, man. Sitting on the couch, I mean, drinking beer, I mean, watching the game. So I kind of thrust myself into numerous things, and it's been good for me, man. It's kept me busy, but now I start to peel back those layers, and I figure out exactly what I want to do. Just trying to be intentional and doing things that's just not busy work, and making sure that I got some goals in mind and definitely try to hit those.
And by the way, just having 5 kids, you would have been busy just with that, but you have all this other stuff too. So, I mean, I don't think you had a chance to just be the guy that sat around and did nothing. I mean, the plate was full no matter what.
Right. And, you know, my kids are doing homeschool, and, you know, they're taught by my wife, but I'm the bus driver. So I take the kids to all the activities. They got soccer, they got cheerleading, they got dance. So I'm constantly on the road, man. I'm putting my miles in, and I'm getting it done.
I had no doubt that you would be. Man, as we wrap this up, I just got a couple quick hitter questions for you. It's called the gauntlet. I need your knee-jerk reaction on a couple things, starting with, what's most important, man? Is it having the number 1 offense or the number 1 defense?
Defense. Defense wins championships.
No shocker there. Now, this might take you a minute, but do you have a favorite football memory when you kind of stop and try to reflect on everything that you were able to accomplish?
My favorite football memory, or the memory that sticks out, is playing in the first Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl 40, if I'm not playing in that one, and remembering the first kickoff, all the flashing lights and all those kind of stuff that you see on the Super Bowl highlight videos. Being there in person for that was pretty surreal, man. Crazy feeling, a good feeling, feeling like I'm not supposed to be here type of thing, but it was really cool.
Now, I know that most, particularly athletes, but I'd say most people are kind of creatures of habits. So did you have one song that you had to get on that playlist before you're going out on Sundays?
Pro Bowl year, I had the Kanye West song. You can't wait till I get my money right. La, la, la,
Can't Tell Me Nothing.
Yeah, mom. Yeah, because I was gonna get paid after that. That was contract year too. So hey, baby, that worked out.
Oh, that did work out. Well done. I'm gonna have to throw that on in the gym later. All right, players or scheme. If you had to pick one, what's most important in winning?
Ooh, tough one. Players. Players make the scheme, I think. But I'm a fan of the players. I say players. I'm gonna stick with that.
And I'm inclined to agree. But man, I like to end on the best piece of advice. So you already mentioned being coachable being a huge thing for you. And I think that's a great piece of advice to anyone that's listening. But if there is anything else that you would recommend, to just think of like a young student athlete that just says, hey man, how do I have any type of success that you've been able to create?
Right. I would say the best advice I could give is be the best you. Don't try to be exactly like anybody else, or think that what anybody else has done or accomplished is the standard. And you be the best you, and you lean into that, and you perfect being you, and you'll be all right.
Well, there you have it. Someone that is much more than an athlete. I want to stop referring to you as a former Pro Bowl player, a entrepreneur, someone that runs their own foundation, a family man. Marcus Trufant, a all-pro guy off the field. As we wrap this up, man, it's marcustrufant.com. But what are your social media handles?
Yes, it's marcustrufant.com, of course. And you can find me on IG at Marcus_Trufant. And you can find the podcast at Truly Unruly _podcast. And that's it, my friend.
Marcus, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem.